Good afternoon, this is Natasha, and at this point you're meeting her via video. That way you'll get a better familiarity of who she is and the components of her chair, because Natasha is nonverbal. She has a few words that she can say. She can say yes and no, and she nods with her head. That's a yes, and there's a no if you ask her yes-no questions. How she communicates is with this dot is a computer mouse, and it transcends to this receiver, which then allows her to type on screen. And she has hello, see? She's got a keyboard, which is just like a computer keyboard, and some quick pop-up words. So she can say,
hello, get drink.
So she talks that way. So you would need to give her some time to compute or type out what she needs from you. And her device has many positions. It's on a swing-away mount, and this arm moves out of the way and will be out of the way when she needs to work at her desk on a standalone computer. But it has the flexibility that it can move. She cannot move that on her own. So the correct position is just that this bar is pretty much in line with the armrest, and the device is angled in so that she can see. Now, is that okay, Natasha? Yes. So you would ask her, and she would tell you, yes, it's okay. If it was like this, is that okay, Natasha? No, it's too far. And the angle, if you look at the angle, that angle of facing the dot to the ball is out of alignment. But when it's here, the tracker ball is in alignment with that dot on her head. So that's the way to know that she can access the device. She has a plug that hangs, sometimes it will be hanging from the device, that when the battery is getting low, because this is a portable device, it doesn't keep a full charge. We charge it at night. This plug is tapped into the battery of the chair and gives her ancillary power. So that can plug into the device. I'll have you come and take a quick look at where that is. And you'll see that she may ask you to plug her in for more support. Okay, so that it doesn't die on her, because that is her voice and her way of talking and communicating to you. Okay, her arm, I'm going to go through the components of the chair. Usually her arm is engaged and Velcroed down. And the reason being is that her arm will swing out and hit you. She'll have that AT&R reflex, which if you walk by, she's going to want to swing. Or going through doors, her arms will splay out. So it really limits her. So we like to take her arm and you hold her by her elbow and her wrist. And if you bend to a 90 degree, all of a sudden she has no muscle tone. So normally she's rigid. If you bend it here, then it's easy to move. It just lets go. See, right now she's extended. That's typically a position for her, and it doesn't hurt her to bend. As soon as you get the 90 degree, look, I'm doing it with the thumb. It's very easy. It's not very difficult. And hold her wrist in place. You just take the rough side of the Velcro with the pad, and you anchor that as tight as you can. And this strap comes across. So her hand can move a bit. It still has some wiggleability. But if I was to do it this loose, she can just get her hand still out there, or it slides right out, which is not effective. So that's why we anchor it fairly tightly. So again, we're just going to bend the 90 degrees. I'm holding it with my thumb, nice and tight, and now she's Velcroed in place. You'll notice that she has a headrest. This headrest is actually a joystick. So instead of driving with your hand, she's driving with this joystick. It moves left to right. And as she wants to drive her chair, she's having to push back with her head. So because she's driving with her head, her body position in her chair is very important. And I'm going to go through that with you. I'm just going to show you that sometimes she may have slipped out of position. You're going to unvelcro her hand again. We're going to make sure, we're going to undo the safety belt. I need you to actually catch back in through here, if you don't mind. So what I like is that you use your knees against her knees as a way for her to push herself up. If you take her arms in front and just lean her a bit forward, she'll pop her bottom up, and she stands on the footrests, and then She's tucked herself back in. If you can see down in here, there is very little space, right? You want her back as close to the backrest as possible because then she's in correct position for driving, okay? The important part is to seatbelt her, loosen it off, click it in place, and tighten it as tight as you can. This will stop her pelvis from sliding. What we don't want is for her to be sitting and then her pelvis slides forward because the belt is loose. Then she can't drive with her head. You can't use your head then. Okay, so the pelvis has to be in a 90-degree in order for her to have good access with her head and for typing and talking. Please pause.